Cosmic Close-Ups, Horsing Around in the Cosmos with the Blue Rider Guide by Wynn Wolfe, conceptual artist / anthologist. It's me again. As is well known, the ancient Greek philosopher, mathematician Archimedes said, "Give me a place to stand on, and I will lift the world." This statement has come forward through the centuries in several variations. The one I grew up with said, "Give me the leverage, and I'll lift the world." Since the dawning of the age of Aquarius, the mid-1970s, humankind is becoming more and more aware of the cosmos. One good reason is the unprecedented New Age stun gun of the past 27 years, known as the Hubble Space Telescope. At its 24/7 orbiting lookout station, it loads up its ammo of otherworldly images from Earth to Moon to Sun, nebulae, galaxies, to an extreme deep field image of the cosmos, then fires those stunning images back at us. Here's some recent awe-inspiring pictures of cosmic life as seen from the Hubble Space Telescope and other ingenious methods. They're really a colorful, flabbergasting gallery of portraits of cosmic entities intrinsic in Einstein's genius equation E=mc². Top left to bottom right is our Sun, the Earth, NASA's Juno spacecraft flyby of Jupiter's south pole, Sombrero Galaxy, Hubble Deep Field. At this depth of field, we see nothing but galaxies, no single stars. And lastly, an artist's rendering of the theorized dark matter. Now, in our scientific digital age, I propose yet another edit to Archimedes' axiom, changing it from "Give me the leverage and I'll lift the world" to "Give me the image and I'll lift the world." Let's get a close-up of the center of this particular stunning image, released November 2nd, 1995. In the November 20th, 1995 Time magazine article, Cosmic Close-Ups, it was titled, the very first sentence begins with, "There is more reality in an image than in a word," which certainly is a fitting statement considering this astounding photo of these selected star-birthing clouds of the M16 nebula in the constellation Serpens. The earliest 20th century essayist Walter Benjamin reminds us that the earliest of modern astronomers, Kepler, Copernicus, and Tycho Brahe, were certainly not driven by scientific impulses alone. Their imaginations were on fire. All the same, the exclusive emphasis on an optical connection to the universe, to which astronomy very quickly led in the 15th and 16th centuries, contained the seed of what was to come. Call it intuition or a sixth sense, these three astronomers, they knew it with conviction. Today, it's Hubble images et al. That give us goosebumps. And as I think about it, goosebumps are the momentary physical reaction to glimpses of truth from within without. And you get to feel them and see them. Goosebumps could be the most simple and basic segue directly connected to our cosmic memories and possibilities. In the last quarter of the 19th century, the genius impulse of H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, in 2 volumes, was penned and published. Since its publication, it has inspired the life scientist in its millions of readers over the years to focus with the very best of optical devices, that is, our mind's eye, connected to the very core of our heart. When the inner eye and the heart are combined, then close your physical eyes. The whole inside of your head becomes one giant clairvoyant, clear-seeing eyeball for your imagination and intuition. Blavatsky tells us in so many words that intuition soars above the tardy processes of logical thinking and transcends the ideas of time and space. I repeat, intuition soars above the tardy processes of logical thinking and transcends the ideas of time and space. Wow. Coming over the horizon of the 20th century, one such intuitive person in Blavatsky's wake was Richard Maurice Buck, MD, who evidently, to some degree, rose up to, then wrote about transcendence or cosmic consciousness. Indeed, the mysteries of human being are to be found in the cosmic being, not only from without, but more importantly, from within. We are a microcosm within the macrocosm, or more accurately, as above, so below. In his 1901 classic book, Cosmic Consciousness, A Study in the Evolution of the Human Mind, Buck tells us forthrightly, along with the consciousness of the cosmos, there occurs an intellectual enlightenment or illumination which alone would place the individual on a new plane of existence, would make him almost a member of a new species. Yesteryear, or contemporarily, like this Mark Rothko painting, only a personal experience of it, or a prolonged study of people who have passed into the new life, will enable us to realize what this actually is. And it has seemed to the present writer that to pass in review, even briefly and imperfectly, instances in which the condition in question has existed would be worthwhile. This also described my feelings of ecstasy and celebration to the T when I first saw this bombastic Hubble Space Telescope image of the gaseous pillars in M16. I was sure it was the same ecstatic feeling for the millions of others who saw it the day that it was publicly released too. In this same spirit of deep joy, Walt Whitman had written a note in the margin of his poem, A Song of the Open Road, which says, I will take each man and woman of you to the window and open the shutters and the sash, and my left arm shall hook you around the waist, and my right shall point you to the endless and beginningless road along whose sides are crowded the rich cities of all living philosophy. The beginningless road along whose sides are crowded with the rich cities of all living philosophy is our home galaxy in this universe, the Milky Way galaxy. As we stand on our spherical Earth and look up at the Milky Way, we are actually looking towards its dense central region, the dense heart of our spiraling galaxy. Let me say here and now, in 1915, when Vasily Kandinsky painted this blue rider for the cover design of the Blau Reiter Almanac, The prevailing view of our cosmos was the universe consisted entirely of our Milky Way galaxy. It wasn't until January 1st, 1925, when American astronomer Edwin Hubble announced to the world that our galaxy is just one of unnumbered galaxies that populate our universe. Now, our Blue Rider guide is going to take us through an exercise of touch-and-go landings on other entities' underworlds of life experience, exoplanets orbiting in other solar systems. Furthermore, the subtitle I used, Horsing Around in the Cosmos, is because Kandinsky himself once made this curious remark, a very curious remark. We stand before pictures as in a dream, and we hear the apocalyptic horsemen in the air. Interesting. Once aloft, we pass through the constellation Carina on our way to the Orion Nebula, one of the several camera eyes of the Hubble Space Telescope gives us this landscape-like image. Here, we're cutting across a nearby star-forming region called NGC 3324. What we see are the hills and valleys of gas and dust shown in intricate detail. While heading towards the Orion constellation, our guide reminds us, we as humankind are a family emerged from the accretions of glowing stardust, just like you see here, into thinking, thriving, curious human beings. Then all at once, hearing the familiar horseback rider's wet-clicking command, we instantly find ourselves at the Horsehead Nebula, another well-known stellar nursery in Orion's belt, flipped horizontally for a curious consistency that you'll see unfold. Like the phoenix rising from the ashes, the scientific ideas and theories of these recycling stardust sources of all new vital life will be discussed shortly. We zoom in for a close-up. I find myself swooning just thinking about the ideas that we emerged from gravitation accreting through the varying forces of intergalactic winds, carrying all sorts of stardust, giving renewed shape and form to star-birthing clouds like this one. It's verily, truthfully, universal. Slowly, our gaze is guided downward by the sweep of our host's hand. And now, as the adage goes, the one reflects the many. And for a short time, we hover around and about this somewhat iridescent hologram of a cosmic, star-spangled tower of blue horses, a visual metaphor of the hierarchies of deities by artist Franz Marc, who was a co-founder of the visionary Blau Rider Group, along with Vasily Kandinsky. With fantastic spacescapes of renewable stardust globules everywhere throughout the universe, our guide turns and instantly zooms back to the M16 Nebula's pillarhead on the left to let us compare to the stunning and coincidental equine-shaped cloud pillar of the just visited Horsehead Nebula. These clouds of stardust are literally the seedbeds, the wombs, where lie fetal and newly born stars. In millennia to come, these new stars will produce their families of planets, rocky, watery, gaseous, etc., along with their kingdoms of entities and humanities. And compare we do. Our guide now spreads before our mind's eye this light-infused William Blake picture. Once again, the awe of coincidence moves us into convincingly seeing ourselves as angelic, human-like, figures around and about another reminiscent rocky horsehead shape and gaseous cloud pillar, including an atom-like human in the gestating fetal position. It was the scientist Robert Oppenheimer who instinctively said, "The best way to send information is to wrap it up in a person." Interestingly, this centuries-old Blake print can now, in a poignant, visual way, be one more reference for scholars to substantiate 20th century astronomer Harlow Shapley's self-generated conclusion that mankind is made of star stuff, ruled by universal laws. Another interesting comparison is with the Greek philosopher Heraclitus. He painted a similar Blake-like picture for our collective imagination, but in a palette of vivid words. He asks and answers, "What are men? Mortal gods. What are gods? Immortal men." You see, everything happens together from within without. It's not our guide's mechanical mouth that is talking to us. It's something from within him, his very spirit. The word spirit comes from the Latin spiritus, meaning breath, to breathe, air, life. Our guide reminds us, too, the word universe, also from Latin, universus, which means all taken together, literally turned into one. Cosmos, mankind/gods, perhaps we are immersed in eternal lives in the renewable cycles or the so-called death state of the other, physical and metaphysical. Our horseman guide waves us on as we begin to turn and descend for our touch-and-go lessons on a nearby exoplanet. We are shown yet another coincidental, yet befitting cloud pillar picture by William Blake titled "Air on a Cloudy Doubts of Reasoning Cares." I'll repeat it. Air on clouding doubts of reasoning cares. It is our reasoning cares that fill our soul's knapsacks with memories and possibilities. They are the touchstones for intuition within each human incarnation, each cosmic trek through a human life cycle of evolutional or growth experience. Like Heraclitus, Sir Thomas Browne also drew us a hint-filled word picture. He says, "We carry within us the wonders we seek without us." Now let's look at a detail from the cloud from the first Blake print and put these two images side by side. Curious, isn't it? All universal life is cyclical. Here on our Mother Earth, the sun rises and sets each day. There's waking and sleeping, the water cycle, a new moon every month, the seasons of the year. Everything cycles. As seen in these side-by-side images, the old adage of dust to dust can now be understood as stardust to stardust. It came to me that the wondrous surprise and even reverence felt by us when looking at Hubble telescope images, plus so many other satellite and ground-based telescopes, really is a gift of gifts. This is a detail of the Lagoon Nebula. It is literally multitudes of solar systems recycling gases, dust, and elements, and whatnot. The fiery stuff, ingredients we eventuate from and return to in long cycles of evolution. They are a visual introduction into the numerous ideas and theories of a deeper sense of life, a cosmic conscious life, our perpetually turning cosmos, the scientific fact of eternal motion is the spinning potter's wheel from which we eternally rise and take form. Are we, the celebrated man in the street, just going to be passive and once removed Webb astronomy observers and buffs, emailing these photos back and forth to each other and say things like, "Wow, have you seen the latest Hubble image?" Or, "Can you believe this awesome picture?" Or, "Isn't this just beautiful and mind-blowing?" Instead, why don't we non-scientists take these Flintstone pictures and use them to spark and light up our imaginations? Truly, they really are deep memory stimulants of our very real cosmic existence, simply because we are first and foremost cosmic entities. We are fashioned from it and part and parcel to it. This awe-inspiring image is called the Hubble Deep Field. These are nothing but galaxies, remember. They are no single stars apparent. This is mankind's deepest, unprecedented, most detailed view of the universe. Astrophysicists now understand that in our electromagnetic universe, its constituent parts recycle too. Obviously, we live in a fantastic scientific high-tech age. And in our new Aquarian age, scientists can now provide us with pictures of not only cycles of solar systems, but also the life cycles of galaxies and more. Our image-generating instruments and telescopes on the ground and in space operate in all the wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum, so we can peer into all varieties of the heavenly energies. Now, banking to the right for our return, our guide points out a small, yet-to-be-discovered exoplanet for our touch-and-go exercise. Swiftly approaching, we catch a passing glimpse of a centaur contemplating a cloud. Interestingly, in Greek mythology, centaurs are the offspring of the Thessalian king Ixion and a cloud. Further down our glide path, our Blue Rider guide sees two centaurs holding hands. We hover there for a moment. In those few moments, Emerson's words come to mind. Every soul is a celestial Venus to every other soul. This handhold is the voltage of the felicity and power of universal love. It awakens the mind to thinking of others than oneself and opens the sluice gates for selfless inspiration to flow. Shortly as we begin to lift up and away, we see another centaur taking aim at the clouds. It's here that our guide says to us, somewhere in time, your own resident genius will begin coaching you to take aim at higher things which give form to your creativity and invention. One champion of invention who actively dialogued with his intuition, sometimes called the voice of the silence, was the harbinger Leonardo da Vinci. He carefully listened to himself, studied, chronicled, and illustrated the protean ideas of physical flight. For sure, his self-motivated work was a foreshadowing of the Hubble Space Telescope 5 centuries down the road, now orbiting our Mother Earth for more than 27 years, which is, of course, just one of the several high-tech telescopic birds whose bird's-eye views deliver to us stunning images that overwhelmingly lift and inspire humankind to cosmic consciousness and to think with and among our stars and their holographic constellations. With a Godspeed salute and a wet mouth-clicking sound, our Blue Rider guide retreats back into the grand starry sea of memories and possibilities. It seems that when the questioner is ready, a teacher will appear, and in due course will disappear. I repeat Buck's words from Cosmic Consciousness, a study in the evolution of the human mind. He says, along with the consciousness of the cosmos, there occurs an intellectual enlightenment or illumination, which alone would place the individual on a new plane of existence, or, at the very least, a welcomed and enthusiastic, renewed frame of mind.